In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Please be seated. So back when I was a therapist in private practice, I had a client who would not pump her own gas. She did not want to do it. You know, this was 25 years ago when there was a full-service station, or at least one pump was full service, and you could pull there and they'd come out and fill your tank and wash your windshield. The good old days. It wasn't that she couldn't fill her tank, she just didn't want to. She didn't like to do that. And she had this mantra that I thought was so smart. She always said, you don't have to be good at everything, and you don't have to like to do everything. I try to live that in my own life. In this world where it's so crazy and we're expected to know everything, we think we can know everything, which is simply idolatry, it's great to be able to say, I don't need to know that. I don't need to do that. And so the other day when the handyman was over at my house trying to explain to me how to fix the faucet that was leaking in my front yard, and he said foreign words to me like plumbing tape, words that I'd never heard before and did not understand. And, he went through this whole lovely explanation, and I said, well, that's great. Will you fix it now? And he just looked at me with that disapproving stare of someone who knows you can do better. He just kind of looked at me like, you should be able to do this. You should be able to do this. I'm like, I'm not going to do this. I don't want to do this. I have friends who can do this for me. I don't need to do this. I don't want to do this. So I didn't, because, you don't have to do everything and you don't have to be good at everything. But life is complicated. And so this doesn't always work. For example, about 2 weeks ago, I found that I was sharing my home with a family of mice. I know. And if they just stay in the basement so that I didn't know they were there, we could live peaceably together, Could be a peaceable kingdom. But no, they have to come up in my kitchen. And when you come up in my kitchen, then all those nonviolent, beautiful thoughts are out the window, and the war has been waged. So I went to Family Dollar, and I bought their traps, and I put them out, and we caught a mouse. And you know what we do when we catch a mouse in my house? We say, Martin, come here immediately. Martin's my son. And I said, I'm going to leave now, so I don't just sit and don't touch up and take care of it, okay? Which he did. But you know what they did? You know what my two boys did? They went on vacation. leaving me to handle this crisis. Leaving me to have to be strategic about where to put the traps and changing the bait and, thinking about this. And, you hear them scurrying in your house and you think, I wish they died. Oh, please don't die. I wish they died. Oh, please don't die. But eventually, of course, one did. And I took care of it. And I have no regrets about that. I took care of it by myself, without any help. Because even though you don't have to like everything and you don't have to do everything, sometimes you do have to step up. Life is complicated. And I took care of it, and the war wages on. So I'm going to be honest and tell you that I do not like this gospel story. The fact that Luke puts it right after the Good Samaritan, so there's two unlikely heroes, right? The Samaritan, the enemy of the Jewish people, was the hero, and now this woman is the hero. I could take the angle that Jesus is lifting up unlikely heroes, and because there's so much demonization and stereotyping going on these days, it would be a good sermon. But I can't get past the dichotomy of being Mary or Martha. Mary versus Martha. Mary, who Jesus rightly congratulates for figuring out that relationship with him is important, sitting at his feet, holding her up in a place where usually it was just men, and saying that she had chosen such a good thing. And that would be great if that was all that happened. But then he looks at Martha with that disapproving look, that shake of the head, that wag of the finger. And you know what I'm thinking while I'm reading that? I'm thinking, a lot of things wouldn't happen in this world without Marthas. Thank you for nodding, because I see you're on my side here. I read this commentary when I was preparing this sermon, and the person wrote that what Jesus was really doing was trying to get Martha to scale back. That, it didn't have to be a big feast. It could be just a small meal. Jesus just wanted a simple meal. Like, seriously? This is Jesus, right? Not to mention the fact that hospitality was so critical in that culture. They would go over and above to be a hospitable, generous host. So, even though I don't think that maybe there was a chore list or a flow chart about how we're going to handle dinner tonight, I'm still thinking Martha had every right to be a little irked at her sister for totally abandoning her. They don't tell you how many people Jesus brought. Probably it would wreck the story if we knew. What if they brought 30 people, right? I can see why Martha would be irked, and I get that. It doesn't mean that we should not be people of prayer, because the very foundation of who we are should be someone who is building a relationship with Jesus, metaphorically kneeling at Jesus' feet and hearing Jesus' wisdom, letting God speak to us about what's important. That should be the very foundation of who we are and what we do. But then we have to do something. If prayer stands alone, then it bears no fruit. If we are just praying and praying and praying and we don't do anything, then what good is prayer? Right? At a certain point, the planning and the preparation and everything have to be put into play. We need to get our hands dirty. I don't think that prayer and service are opposite of one another. I think they're totally linked. And that happens in church as well. We've come here today to pray, and we're gonna. But if we didn't have an altar guild and some ushers in the back and a reader and an acolyte and a musician, all these Marthas among us, our worship would be very different today than with all this extra help. And service. Yesterday we had the food pantry and the produce. It was so hot. It was miserably hot. And yet there were probably 15 volunteers here who were serving people who needed food. It was beautiful to watch. Excellent hospitality, kindness, generosity. The fruit of prayer, right? That's who we become when we have a relationship with God. So we need to put prayer and service together. Martha and Mary. For those of you who are Marthas who wish you were Mary, or the Marys who wish you were Martha, you're good, because we need to be both. We need to have both of those things as a part of who we are. And today we celebrate people who have invested 50 years of their life, and almost a lifetime, in prayer and service. Almost a lifetime. Some people, an entire life. 93 and a half years for Mary Lou Robinson. I know, pretty darn impressive. So much prayer. You feel the prayer radiating off these walls, don't you? You just feel that prayer. And the service, all the work that's been done to build a foundation for this church that has made a difference in the world, that has made a difference in this community. 39 people are 50-year members in this church. 39 people. And we need to pray for and bless every one of them for all that they've done for this church. So in a few minutes, we're going to call them up here and we're going to honor them and we're going to clap and we're going to give them a present. But when you see them in coffee hour, there's stunning donuts back there today. And when you see them in coffee hour, please say thank you. Amen.